Okay, are you ready? Okay, before I go into detail, let's set a foundational principle. Okay? Now, this is the foundational principle that is going to serve as the basis, right, from which we're going to build from. Okay? And it's this. Do you see me? That's very important because you can't love me if you don't see me. Right? Now, that's true of you seeing yourself as worthy, as worth it, as enough. It also is him seeing you as worthy, as worth it, as enough. But let's take it even deeper. Does he see who you are inside? How will you know? Do you feel seen with him? Or is he in love with the idea of you, but not with you? One of the things that was very important for me in vetting my now husband was, first of all, we had to be in agreement about what we loved about me. You see, as I had said earlier, I had gone through a whole evolution from my 20s to my 50s when I met him. And my intention was to learn and it was to grow. I never wanted any past relationship to own me. I did not want to have trust issues because of a past relationship. I did not want that to be. I never wanted anybody from the past who left me or who I had to leave to have any kind of power over my relationship decisions. I didn't want to look at other men through that lens because I felt like if I did, that meant that past relationship still owned me. And there's always been something in me that has always wanted to be my own person. I've always wanted to be my own person. I never wanted to be a slave to hate, to unforgiveness, to anything. My intention, my lean, if you will, after I got over being hurt and upset and he did this and I ain't gonna never and all the things we go through when we've had a breakup. When all that was said and done and I was alone with myself, I never wanted to be a victim in my relationship story. I never wanted to see myself as a victim. I never wanted to be able to answer the question, why are your relationships the way that they are? By pointing to a past relationship, a past man to be the reason why I couldn't trust, the reason why I couldn't love, the reason why I couldn't be intimate, the reason why I couldn't move forward, the reason why I did things to distract myself. You know, the reason why I had to succeed at this thing so it could compensate for my failings in my romantic life. Now, I'm not talking about anybody else. Now I'm talking about me because I want you to know who you're listening to, right? I want you to know this is not something, that I made up in my head. This is not going to be Bible study 101. This is not going to be any of those things. It's not going to be full of mantras and all these other things that we use to justify the reasons why we don't take better care of ourselves and our own hearts in relationships. The reason why we'd rather jump for the fantasy than to take the time to find out the reality before we've signed our name on the dotted line, before we've given away more than we can stand to lose. Right? Before we've invested so much that we stay much longer in the relationship than we need to, because we feel like we need to get something back. That this relationship owes us something because of what we invested. See, I know all the things because I've been there. From my 20s to my 50s. That's 30-something years of going through one relationship disappointment after another that slowly ate away at my own self-confidence, which made me too trusting or not too trusting or not looking at things critically enough. Too trusting or too suspicious. Right? So I needed to find what was my power metal. What was my core? What was the foundation of me that I kept missing in these relationships? What parts of my inner framework had I not taken enough time to empower, to equip, so that I could stop failing in my relationship, settling for instead of feeling worthy of. Right? I didn't know what made me worthy. I knew it in here, or I could recite scriptures or mantras that other people said. I could say I deserve better, but my practice said different. I would tell a man I deserve better, but kept accepting his less than better. Right? So there was a disconnect in how I saw myself and how I showed up in my relationship life. And that was something that therapy helped me with. Right? But there were some practices that I had to courageously commit to and take chances on me to gain enough self-mastery and to gain enough self-confidence to stand on. Else I would not be happy in this relationship, regardless of whether he was a good man or not. If I had not solved the puzzle called me, it wouldn't have mattered whether he was a good man or a bad man. I would have still brought my same insecurities into the relationship. Okay? So our foundational principle: have you given him enough genuine, honest evidence of who you are upon which to make that decision? Or have you been pretending to be somebody that you're not, or justifying to yourself magical thinking that's caused you to be your own worst enemy in a relationship? In the euphoria of relationships, have you misrepresented yourself? Have you accepted things in the euphoria, in the early beginnings, in the oh my God of the relationship? Have you cashed a check that you don't have enough money in the bank to cover? Have you made him believe something about you that's not true? That you were teaching him that he could have you so easily because you're so easy to impress. You're so easy. Your head can be so easily turned that he got you for the bargain basement price of little to no effort. He just could talk a good game, get all inside of your head, and now he's gotten all inside of your heart, and then he got all inside of your bed. What did you teach him about yourself? Could you even see who you were? Or were you hoping that by you representing a certain way, he would say that you're a good woman. He would say you're worthy. Were you waiting on him to grant you or bestow upon you worthiness to be his wife? Did you know why you were worthy to be his first round draft pick? Did you know what made you worthy to yourself? So again, the question, do you see me? Look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, do you see me? Because you have to see yourself first in order for you to properly represent yourself to him. And then he has to see you, who you truly are, who you really are, in order for him to know that it's you he's in love with. The reason I knew my husband was the right man is because he was able to articulate the very things about me that I loved. He was able to articulate his love for the very things about me that I loved, that I had done the work to respect, to honor, and to love. See, when you've gone through a whole lot to reclaim yourself, when you've lost yourself for love, when you have not been treated well, and you've had to do the work to figure out what made you lovable to you, to figure out what you could respect and honor, what you liked about you, what you respected about your journey, about the woman you had become, the dragons you slayed, right? The way you saw yourself, the new definition that you had to write, the effort it took to get to know yourself, to become curious about yourself instead of being a critic, to lay aside the definitions that you had been taught, what had been modeled, what people told you was a good woman, and figure out for yourself what made you love you. Why do you love you? Is it only skin deep? Do you only love how well you clean up? Do you only love yourself when you got a good new weave in with a different color, or you put on eyelashes? Do you only love yourself because of how you look? Is it only skin deep? If you're going for a trophy wife, then that might be enough for you. But if you want a man to respect you, what is it about you that you respect? Can you answer the question for yourself? What would make you worthy of a man leaving everybody else and wanting you as his wife, wanting you as the woman that he wants to spend his life with? Do you know, if he told you he loved you, right? Would you believe it? Or would your insecurities that you haven't resolved cause you to question it? And would that reason be that part of the resolution is understanding your worth and your worthiness? Is there anything you're holding against yourself that you feel like makes you unworthy, makes you feel like you've got to perform, you've got to prove yourself worthy of his love? And if he tells you he just loves you for you, can you receive that? Or do you put more emphasis on, but I did this for you, I cooked for you, I cleaned for you, I paid your bills, I paid your child support, I bought you a car. I moved you into my house. I held you down. I was your ride or die. I believed in you when nobody else did. I helped you with your career. I helped you study for your test. I worked while you went and got your degree. Are you basing his love for you on what you did that you respect? Do you respect more what you do in a relationship than who you are? If you couldn't do anything else, have you come to terms with your inherent worthiness to be loved? Or do you feel like there's something in you that has been marred and you've got to prove it to him? Do you feel like if he left you for all that you did, if he could leave you, if he could cheat on you, if he could treat you wrong, if he could hit you, would your reasoning for being upset about that be because all the things I did, what I sacrificed for him, all these things I did, I loved him. What do you base your love on? The things that you did or the person that you are? Do you even know who she is that makes her wife material? Beyond you having a good job, beyond you being able to cook and clean, beyond you supporting him in ministry, beyond how you all worship the same God, beyond the aesthetics, beyond the look of it, beyond the externals, do you know in the most vulnerable of vulnerable places what makes you worthy? Okay, are you in agreement about what makes you worthy of his love, right? And are you in agreement from his standpoint about what he feels like makes him worthy of your love? Are you in agreement? Okay, so that's a foundational principle. A second foundational principle is this that I have observed. What tends to happen in the dating or whatever, whether you've dated a long time, had a couple of dinners and he proposed, whatever the thing was that kind of took you from 0 to 100, right? Whatever it was, I have observed that what tends to happen on dates is men collect information while women collect feelings. Okay? Most of the time, a man is collecting data on you. He's putting something out there, seeing how you respond to it. He is very clear that he's trying to figure out what kind of woman you are, what your sensibilities are, what your temperament is, what's important to you, what's not. He's trying to figure all that out while he's dating you or talking to you on the phone or whatever, right? He's trying to figure that out. And upon him figuring it out will determine how he proceeds, right? Now, so men collect data. They're laughing, they're talking, they're saying things, they're bringing the charm, they're whatever. You're asking questions, they're answering them, and their brains are going, they're checking you out externally. They're imagining what they want to do, but they also, if they're looking for something, they might be looking for something superficial, they might be looking for a friends with benefits, or they might be looking to see if you're wife material. What kind of woman you are. So they're collecting information. They're collecting information. But we, as women, tend to collect feelings. We fall in love with what he says. Think about it. Most of the time, when we're upset, when a relationship doesn't go right, What is it we said? But he said this, he said that. We catch feelings around what he said, right? And the other way we tend to get a little offbeat and get confused, a lot of times what happens with us, we might say something, but because he sticks around, we assume that he gets it and he's willing to proceed based on what we've told him. We will accept, won't accept, require, wish, hope for. We're hoping that if he continues with us, if he keeps calling, if he keeps coming by, that means he understands and is on board with what we've told him. But what tends to happen is he does the exact opposite. And in our confusion, we continue to say it, sometimes nagging, fighting, whatever, but we still give him access to us. We still sleep with him. We still let him have access to our homes, our cars, our hearts, our whatever. We still give him access. We still allow him proximity. We still allow him to be in our lives. And get confused because now what's happened is you told him you don't do casual sex, but you just had sex with him. So now you got to make good to yourself by pushing for a relationship. Because of your slip up, now you got to double down on convincing him to be in a relationship with you or convincing him to marry you, because that is the only way you're going to earn credibility back with yourself. We've had sex, so now I got to push for a relationship to make good, to end up being credible to myself, to make amends to myself, so I won't feel like boo-boo the fool. Now I got to push for a relationship. That was me. And so another foundational principle that we have to get straight is the dating process. Yes. Have fun. Yes. Enjoy yourself. Yes. But don't get so drunk on what he says, his charm, him paying for the meal. Don't get so drunk on him being nice to you, which, by the way, should be the baseline. That should be the cost of admission. That should be the baseline of what he would do to have your time. But we'll go into that probably a little bit more later. But don't get so caught up on what should be his reasonable service that you catch feelings instead of collecting information. While you're dating him, always remember, have a time of self-reflection where you ask yourself, beyond him saying a whole bunch of something, did he say anything of value or of substance? Or was he really good at charming you? Are you going off the charm? Are you going off how you felt, but don't have any substance? Whereas on the other hand, he is getting information about you. And I really believe that's why a man can do all those things and then get missing. He can ghost you. He can ghost you without even telling you why. Because he was in it to get information. And once he got the information, he decided whether he was going to continue with you or not continue with you. And what you failed to do was bring the same energy. See, he can walk and chew gum at the same time. He can be charming and all those things and still get information. But a lot of us in our dating, we can't walk and chew gum. We can't collect feelings or enjoy ourselves in the relationship and be putting just as much effort into collecting enough information to know if we want to proceed or how we want to proceed. Okay? So those are two basic things that I want you to understand that I had to learn. I had to learn before I was even ready, even in the position, even had the right mindset, even could be trustworthy enough to decide whether this person was going to be just somebody I dated for kicks and knew it wasn't going to be a chance in hell that I would marry this guy. And I'll admit, when I met my now husband, our first date was so great that I assumed he felt the same way that I did and would have the same energy toward moving forward in the relationship as I did. That wasn't the way it was. But I knew myself well enough to know that because I felt such an intense emotional reaction to him, that I could not play with myself when it came to him. I had to pump the brakes until I got my sensibilities back in check. And for me, I had to put distance between us. I had to stop dating him for a minute to regain my sense of equilibrium, my sensibilities, what I was looking for, how I wanted to feel, to kind of bring my intensity down to the point that I could really look at this thing more soberly. And in the words of my forever mentor, Patrice Washington, give God something to work with. I had to get my heart rate down. Be able to take a step back and look at this thing sensibly. Did I want to like him more than he liked me? I knew from experience, if I liked him more than he liked me, then I would almost be like a helicopter dater. I'd be looking at the phone, waiting for it to ring, looking to see. I might text him to see if I could get him to start texting me back. I would start doing things, making the effort in ways I didn't want to have to. And before I knew it, I'd be carrying the relationship. I had made a decision. I was not going to carry another relationship. I was not going to do more, put in more effort, put in more energy toward the furtherance of our relationship than he was putting in. So I had to pump the brakes. And for me, I had to put a line in the sand that I could respect. I had to end it before it even got started. Because I knew me and I did not want to carry that heavy emotional lifting. I didn't want to start micromanaging the relationship. I didn't want to do so much till my expectations exceeded his investment in the relationship. I didn't want to feel like I had to force or manipulate or coerce or give ultimatums or do things so that he could catch up with me. Right? If he was not putting in the same energy or he did not feel that effort came from him organically to push the relationship forward. If our energies were misaligned, here I am ready to go. I want to go faster. I want to run, and he just wants to walk and take his time. If those were mismatched, and I could not slow my walk down and be comfortable with his pace, or he speed up and be comfortable with mine, then I had to say, "Whoop, Suzette, you know about you." This had nothing to do with him. This was about me. And I had made a promise I was not going to put myself in a position where I was doing more emotional, heavy lifting and making more effort, planning more dates, doing more things to try to get in his space than he was doing to try to get in mine. I didn't want it. So that was the second basis. That was the second baseline. And I really believe for whether you're in your 20s or in your 60s or 70s, these are two foundational principles that you need to truly meditate on. You need to meditate on. First, does he see me? Secondly, am I to a point where I can walk and chew gum at the same time? Am I to a point where I can enjoy the relationship, enjoy my time with him, rather, not the relationship because you're not in a relationship yet, but enjoy our first, second, or third interaction without jumping the shark? Can I allow myself to enjoy it and still be able to trust myself to keep my emotions in check so that I have the capacity and the fortitude to be able to collect just as much information that I need to collect from him as he's collecting from me? Okay? All right. Okay. We're going deeper. We're going to go deeper. Okay. I want to hear what your thoughts are. Please put it in the comments all along, even with the other episodes that I've done in this series. I want to hear from you. I want to hear what's resonating. I want to hear what you're writing in your journal, how you're holding yourself accountable, what you're praying about now, giving God something to work with you on when it comes into your relationships, okay? All right. See you in the next episode.